Hello and welcome to episode 8 of the Rising Phoenix podcast. I'm your host, Aiden, and today we're joined by Lily Barker and Caroline Doyle of the Elon Volleyball team. Guys, thanks for having.
Thanks for having us. I'm Caroline. I am a junior here, and I'm a Libero DS on the volleyball team. I'm majoring in media analytics and strategic communications with minors in professional writing and leadership studies, which is a mouthful, but super great. And yeah.
Hi, I'm Lily. I am a right side outside from Austin, Texas, and I also play volleyball. I'm a sport management major with minors in entrepreneurship and psych.
So you guys had the wonderful opportunity to go study abroad for 20 days in the Dominican Republic. Just tell me about your experience, what it was like, and just kind of how much fun y'all had.
It was a blast, honestly. We were there for 20 days, and we wish that we could go back for longer, for sure.
Yeah, as soon as we got back here, I remember me and Kara both talking about, oh, wow, we already missed the DR. We want to go back. It was that much fun. And the weather, getting to meet new classmates, learning about the culture in the DR, it was just an incredible experience.
And going into the class, did either of you know anybody in the class? Did you guys have any friends besides you two being teammates coming into the class?
Initially, we knew that it was just going to be us two going in, but once we got to class, even the first day, we recognized people and got to meet a lot of new people, which was great.
What was the mindset going into the trip? You guys are coming off a season, freshly off a season. You guys ended in November. You got winter break where you guys are away for a month, and then January where we're going to be away for another month. What was kind of the mindset of the trip? Was it, yay, I get time off outside that, quote unquote Elon bubble, or were you both still thinking about spring season training and kind of just the volleyball sport, or was it time to kind of get away from that?
Yeah, I think for me it was a mixture of both. I think as a student athlete, you're so used to the daily routine of waking up, going to class, practice. That's kind of the routine throughout the day. And then being able to step away from that space and, go to a different country and experience a whole bunch of different things was such a blessing. Obviously, we missed training with our teammates, and we missed, the culture that we have here and that we build in Char.
I definitely agree. I think it was nice to step away after such a long season and kind of step away from that grind, like Billy was saying. But it's definitely hard being away from your teammates. I mean, you're away for so long and you're used to seeing people every single day. So that was definitely something that I miss. But overall, it's just such a cool experience and something that we'll never be able to do again.
Yeah, and given that it was a trip that you guys could never do again, was that kind of your main reason of going on the trip? Or did you guys see kind of, baseball, beach, fun for a month? Little bit of learning, and you were like, yeah, I'll do that? Or was there kind of more like, this is going to be a once in a lifetime, let's go do it while we can?
I'd say it was definitely more of a once in a lifetime opportunity type of thing. Going to a school like Elon, they just press the whole idea of being the number one study abroad program in the United States. And being an athlete, you're not usually able to have the opportunity to study abroad. So being able to do that from our coach was great.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Elon is very study abroad focused, which was incredible. It was, I think, a main reason for me coming here, especially because I wanted to travel out of the country initially. And as a team, we went to Italy our freshman year. So experiencing that was super fun, and I think that kind of motivated both me and Care to, go through that experience again, but just in a different place.
And what was it like, because you mentioned you guys traveled as a team to Italy, and now going outside the country twice while in college, not with the team, how different was that? Because you don't have some of your best friends, closest friends with you, but you also, have you guys together going on the trip. How different was that experience?
I definitely think it was very different. In Italy, we were kind of doing everything as a team. Like we said, I mean, we'd have dinners by ourselves in separate little groups and things like that. But me and Billy were roommates and things like that. So it was definitely nice to have a buddy for sure. But it also kind of forced us outside of this Elon athlete bubble. I mean, I've met so many new people around campus, have new people to say hi to, and it's just been kind of great to be able to separate and be more independent in that sense.
I completely agree. I think obviously we missed our teammates because going to Italy with them was a blast. We were able to play a few Italian teams, which was a lot of fun. And, we walked around, experienced their culture together, learned about our own culture, which was very cool. But, just stepping away from being an athlete, that kind of meant stepping away from the team too. And, both of us going together, I think we were able to kind of lean on one another, and then also through that meet new people, which was honestly incredible. And I think, like Kara said, we were able to get outside of like being in an athlete bubble, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, and with that bubble, like you mentioned earlier, your normal day-to-day is get up, go to class, go train, go to sleep, do it all over again. Mm-hmm. What was it like? Did you guys keep up with the training? Did you guys kind of keep up with, I know, me being on the trip, we played a lot of beach volleyball, which I don't know if that relates to indoor volleyball, but what was it like kind of keeping up with the training and just being kind of ready to go as soon as you guys come back, because you guys were away from the facilities for a month in the DR and then a month prior to that with vacation and whatnot?
It was definitely very different because, like you said, we're used to the grind of, at least in the spring, we wake up really early for both practice and lifts and stuff like that. So I think that the DR was a chance to work out and play and kind of experience all of the things that we do with people who aren't athletes. We got to play like beach volleyball and things like that. And it was just so much fun and definitely a refresh when we came back for the spring.
Yeah, and going on the trip, I just remember thinking about balance for me. We definitely missed being in Char 100% and working out with our teammates and our coaches. But, sort of having that balance of not being stressed out to wake up at 6 a.m. and go straight to workout, more so kind of just leaning into it, working out when we can, but also making sure that this study abroad class was our first priority and that we wanted to learn about the culture, the diversity of the country.
What was it like coming back from the DR? You've been away from the team for a month and a half now. They've been training while you're gone, basically. What was that like? Obviously, they took you in with open arms, per usual. But what was that like coming back? Did you have to refine the chemistry that you guys have had on the court?
I think coming back, there was lots of hugs, definitely.
They were a little jealous about our tans.
Yeah. But honestly, I think for me personally, I felt a little bit out of the loop for like the first week, and I think that just goes for every athlete when they leave their sport for a little bit. But our teammates made it so easy to transition back into practice and workouts, and they helped us with some of the things we didn't cover. Or some of the things that we missed. So for me, it was a pretty easy transition.
I would definitely agree. Like you said, they welcomed us with open arms and kind of just got us back up to speed to where they were at and where they were training. And it was really exciting coming back and just seeing how much progress they made both on the court and in the weight room and getting back into it.
What was it like for you guys to kind of be thrown back into, okay, now I got to get up and go to do the weights at, 6, 7 a.m. Instead of waking up and going to class at like 9 or 10 and then laying on the beach for the day?
For me, a huge transition, definitely. Going from being on the beach and, getting to learn about the DR to waking up at 5 a.m., going to conditioning, going to lift weights. Definitely hard at first. So like I said, big transition. But once you get into the routine of things, it becomes so much easier. And honestly, you kind of have time to reflect. For me, I reflected on the time I had in the DR, realized how lucky I was to experience that, and then kind of just ran with it and was like, okay, I need to get back into my daily routine.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I kind of use the time in the DR and coming back as a time of like self-reflection. I remember in the Dominican Republic, there were tons of just little kids who I remember one instance in particular, we got off the bus into like an empty field, a baseball field called the like Dominican Field of Dreams. And at first we were supposed to be playing with little kids and we didn't see anybody. In about 3 minutes, there's just kids from the neighborhood running because they saw a bus, which meant that there were Americans coming. And our tour guide gave us the advice of that these Dominicans are really just warriors. They use every opportunity they can get. And when I got back, I just kind of self-reflected on just how lucky we have, I reflected on just how lucky we are to have the opportunity to get up every day and go to practice and lift weights and everything like that with such a team culture. So coming back, it was kind of just eye-opening for sure, and seeing every day as another day to get better.
So Caroline brought that back to the team. Did you bring back anything specifically, Lily?
I guess sort of the same thing. Seeing how big baseball was in the Dominican, honestly, kind of a motivation, kind of a turning point for me where I'm like, oh, what can I bring back from this trip to the team? Because obviously we're going straight into workouts. And, seeing some top picks playing, it's incredible. And I think just kind of what we learned from, some of the players that we got to watch, hearing their stories. Kind of what Kara said, it's like we get to wake up every day and do this, and we're lucky to be able to do this. So kind of just that motivation factor.
And being a student athlete at a school like Elon that is really student first, we pride ourselves on our student side of being a student athlete. What was it like to study abroad? Because you don't usually hear Division I athletes having the opportunity to study abroad. So what was that like with dealing with the prep class while you guys are in season, and then obviously, going on the trip? And we can dive into the trip a little bit more if y'all want.
I think we both just felt incredibly lucky, to be honest. I know even some programs here at Elon aren't able to go on study abroad. So, just talking about it with our coach and with Dr. Cryan, I think it's such a rare opportunity for athletes to be able to study abroad, but it's such an important experience as well. And I think any athlete should be able to do this because it really is life-changing and eye-opening. And so I just feel incredibly blessed and lucky that we were able to attend.
Yeah, I was definitely very grateful in a sense too, just because most athletes even here at Elon aren't able to do what we did. And it really just gave us a whole nother perspective and kind of let us zoom out of our bubble here at Elon to see our life as kind of a balance between sports and social life and being a student here, which is something that most people don't get to see. It's definitely a very special experience, something I'll always remember, but also a time of like self-reflection, growth, and things that we can bring back to our team here.
And I know you guys mentioned you guys are one of the few teams that study abroad. What was your coach's response to this? I know she obviously said yes, but when you brought this to her of, hey, I want to go to the Dominican Republic and learn about baseball tourism, what was her response to that?
She was so excited for us, honestly.
Yeah.
She was very open to it, very excited for us, and just really pushed us to do it.
Mm-hmm. Very supportive. I think, I mean, when we told her we wanted to do this, she was, like I said, extremely supportive. What do I need to do to help you guys go on this trip and, have the best experience possible? So
she also thought it was really important in life and in general that we aren't just volleyball players. Like, we're students, we're friends, everything like that. And pushing that idea on us was great as well.
And with that support, did you guys feel the drive to get as much as possible out of the trip? Because I know your average student is looking at it from a standpoint of, hey, I get to go to the Dominican Republic, but you guys are being, getting a rare opportunity. Did that force you guys to get more out of the trip?
I think definitely. A lot of times coaches might not support that because you're away from training and the team, but being allowed to kind of do the trip without the guilt or without the pressure from coaches was a great experience and definitely forced me to really go all in.
Like in the fall, we're playing, obviously, and then in the spring, it's spring season, so we have spring tournaments and waking up early, practices all that kind of stuff. And then in the summer, we're doing like internships or we're working. So I think to be able to kind of step away and use it as sort of a time to just connect with the people around us and the new culture around us. And I think that's kind of what our coach highlighted the most.
Yeah, and now diving into the kind of the details of the trip, I'm going to start with Caroline on this. What was your favorite part about the trip? We did a lot. It was probably the most I've ever done in 20 days. I don't know about yourselves.
Definitely.
But what was your favorite part about the trip that we did?
I would say my favorite part about the trip was going to the baseball games. Their culture there is just crazy. Something, I mean, you can attest to it too. It's just a crazy atmosphere, super fun, but also just allowing yourself to kind of people watch. Not only that, but see all the talent there coming from the Dominican Republic. Just unbelievable.
Yeah. And for me, I think it was being able to meet some of the little kids that we were able to play with. That was so rewarding, and just seeing them, being with them, playing tag with them and giving them piggyback rides. I think just understanding that we were able to sort of make an impact in their life, and we hosted some fundraisers, donated some gear, and so I think that was probably my favorite.
It was a lot of baseball. Did you guys enjoy baseball coming into the trip, or was this like it's baseball, but now I have a love for baseball?
Yes, I've always loved watching baseball. My brothers have grown up playing, so I've always been watching the game in general. But it was definitely special seeing it in the Dominican Republic. I feel like they pride themselves on their facilities, their work ethic, and everything like that. So it's super cool. I loved it.
Yeah, for me, I've always loved watching it, but I feel like I don't know that much, or I didn't know that much about the game. So, talking with everybody at the games and sort of understanding more about the players and how the game works in general, for me, that kind of created a new love for the game.
It was definitely super cool watching all the talent, even like in BP and things like that. Just a crazy amount of talent, I would say.
The Dominican Republic primarily speaks Spanish. Did you guys know any Spanish going into this? I know we had to do Duolingo, which really for me did not help. Did you guys know Spanish coming into the trip, or did you guys just kind of survive off Google Translate?
Of course, I took Spanish. I took Spanish from like first to 10th grade or something like that, but honestly, nothing really stuck with me. So honestly, I tried my best to translate and work on it, especially through like physical acts or like pointing, different things like that. There was one instance in particular where I was wearing a Chicago Cubs hat, and the coach really wanted me to like practice taking a swing and stuff like that, and just kept on calling me Chicago the rest of the time. And that was just a quick little interaction, but I mean, it was something that connected us, and I thought it was super special that we were connected through sports.
Yeah, the language barrier was definitely tough at first, but you kind of get used to it, I feel like, and interacting with locals. I think, they were all so kind and generous with us, and, just meeting one another and knowing that we were kind of new to their culture, and, they were very accepting of that. And I think like the biggest thing for me, or the sentence that I would always repeat, was just like a quesadilla with quesadilla with chickens, like quesadilla con pollo. Like that was the main term in Spanish I needed to know. Yeah.
And in the Dominican Republic, there's very much tourism on the outside of the country, and then being in the main part of the country is a lot of, mix of poverty, a lot of people just trying to use baseball as a way to provide for their family. How did you guys kind of see that in the places that we went, and or kind of take a look at that and realize that, these kids are playing for their lives per se?
It was definitely eye-opening. I think it comes back to, again, just viewing them and the opportunities we have here as, again, another blessing, and things that are like end-all be-all here are seriously what they're working for all the time. And then in the tourism parts of the country, I thought it was interesting just how welcoming they are. I mean, this is their livelihood. So our experience in their culture is really important, and their hospitality was just so generous.
In terms of baseball, I feel like, we watched the number one pick for who was picked by the Padres. And
Yeah.
God, not drafted. So we watched the number one pick who was playing for the Padres, and I think kind of like for me, I looked him up after we went and watched the BP, and kind of understanding his story, and seeing that he wants to provide for his family and his friends, and give back to his community. And I think that's what happens when every DR player goes to the MLB is they, the first thing they do is buy their moms a house or a car, or they just make sure that their family is taken care of. So just knowing that is huge.
And we played a lot of baseball as well. Did the baseball skills improve? Did we have any going into the trip? How are the baseball skills pre and post trip?
Honestly, I had no baseball skill prior to the trip, but I feel like it might have gotten a little bit better. I feel like I'm good on defense, can't hit a ball to save my life.
I also can't, so if that makes you feel better.
Yeah, batting was so hard. I mean, I feel like volleyball and baseball are kind of similar in that it's like eye coordination, but batting
different.
was...
I'd rather serve receive.
Yeah. No, batting was really hard.
What was the funniest stuff? Well, we did a lot of really funny things, whether it was cliff jumping, just chilling on a beach, attempting to play volleyball. Well, you guys played, I attempted. What was kind of the funniest thing that happened on the trip that you guys really cherish the memory of?
For me, it was definitely Dr. Cryan walking around with his guitar and just singing to everybody. Like, we would be stuck in the hotel lobby with all of our bags everywhere, all of us just like sweating. We're just so frustrated and done. We just want to go lie down. And then Cryan just pulls out his guitar and starts singing, and it's so funny that like it makes you smile. But it was hilarious.
Did you know he sang and played the guitar before going on the trip, or was this a little shock for you?
He said he was going to bring the guitar. I wasn't aware that he was going to play it all the time.
Yeah, like
even on the bus after baseball games. I mean, he'd get the whole bus going.
Yeah.
We were singing Wagon Wheel,
the
disco lights.
It was
we
great.
Would get it going, yeah. But I mean, one of our friends went on the trip previously, and he kind of warned us. He was like, "Oh, beware! Dr. Cryan is gonna sing to you guys. Like, just watch out." And we didn't realize how good he was. Also, like, Dr. Cryan can sing for sure.
Was this both of your guys' first time in the Dominican?
Yes.
All right. So you guys went. It was very much a cultural-based experience. Would you guys go back? Would you guys do same things, different things? Kind of, if you guys had to design the trip, what would you take out? What would you put in? What would you leave for the trip that we went on?
I honestly think the trip was very well planned and sought out. I enjoyed being able to go to big cities, but also see the small town atmosphere. I would say my favorite part of the whole structure of the trip was being able to stay in Santo Domingo for a long period of time. It kind of allowed you to really soak in the culture in that area instead of traveling all the time, which I thought was great.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think we spent the perfect amount of time in different places where we got to learn about the culture of each area, which was pretty awesome because I feel like visitors will only go to one city and kind of, learn about that particular city. But we were able to travel all over. I guess my only complaint would be laundry was kind of, that was kind of tough. I remember opening my bag and just like almost barfing because it was so bad. It was
my mom didn't even let my bag in the house when I got home.
Yeah. Like we couldn't do laundry for a month basically. So that was kind of hard, but
I also would say I would have loved to stay in Puerto Playa for a longer period of time. That was like the cabanas we got to stay in. I thought that was super fun.
So you kind of answered the next question, but what was your favorite place to stay, Lily?
Ooh, I loved the cabanas, but probably Santo Domingo, the first hotel we were at. I just feel like this city was so fun to walk around in, and I feel like that was the most populated city, so we were able to talk to as many people as we could.
And we also got like the bearings of the town and everything, which was nice walking around.
We stayed there for 8 days on the front end and then 3 days on the back end. What was that like to come back to such a familiar area? We had the Conde, we knew where Paco's was. We kind of knew where everything was. What was that like coming back to a place that is almost quote unquote home for this trip?
I think it was very nice just to have something familiar. I mean, there's just tons of new experiences and new places being thrown at you the whole trip, and definitely towards the end, it was nice to have something familiar and kind of like what you said, home to come back to.
Yeah, we definitely knew the area, so I feel like it was a little bit easier the second time around to just navigate and sort of go to the places that we wanted to go to. And that was sort of refreshing in a way because it felt like we were a little more free, and we could do some of the things that we wanted to do, like go shopping or go to the grocery store. So it was just a little bit helpful.
And we had a lot of free time on the trip. How did you guys use that to your advantage? Did you guys go, shop? Did you guys go do excursions? Did you guys just go kind of sleep sometimes? Like, what was kind of the deal with all the free time that we had?
I felt like I used the free time to kind of soak in the experience, whether that would be to be at the hotel, having conversations with people you normally wouldn't be able to talk to, and really using it as a time to soak in the culture instead of be on your phone or like study and things like that, which I thought was really nice.
Yeah, for me, I loved going to the different grocery stores. I think just seeing, their food items and kind of, I don't know, just walking around, embracing all the differences was so cool. And obviously prices were different too. So kind of understanding that price difference and, seeing what foods the locals like to eat or, just learning more about the area was really cool.
Yeah, and off that food topic, we had a lot of different food, a lot of chicken and rice, and a lot of just kind of crazy stuff. What was y'all's favorite food on the trip?
Yeah. I think my favorite food on the trip was when we went to Manny Acta's house. Homemade chicken and rice was definitely the winner.
And for me, I would say plantains. Or I had this risotto that was really, really good too.
Would you guys study abroad again if you were given the opportunity? And where would you guys go?
I would 100% do a study abroad trip again. I feel like I would want to go. We went to Italy, but we were only there for like a week over spring break. And honestly, maybe somewhere in Europe. I know that's kind of broad, but I feel like that would be super fun.
I think I would want to study abroad in a place like Barcelona or Ireland, somewhere in Europe for sure.
Will you guys have that opportunity again with the team or at an individual stand-in?
I don't think we'll have an opportunity again to go with the team, at least. We go every 4 years, so we're getting up there in age.
Yeah.
But maybe as an individual after graduation, that would be cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm honestly not too sure. I feel like we can possibly do another study abroad class. We just have to figure it out with our class schedules and stuff like that. So it's definitely something to look into.
Maybe
for
next
the future.
term. That would be good.
Yeah.
Next
for
January.
Sure.
Awesome. Well, Lily, Caroline, thanks so much for joining me today on the Rising Phoenix podcast. And are there any last things that you guys want to say about the trip, about Elon Volleyball? Any final plugs?
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
We expect to see you in the fall, and go Lycée.
Yeah. Thank you for having us. And I guess if you have the option to take a study abroad class, we definitely support it, and you should definitely go.
Definitely.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you to Caroline and Lily for joining me on this episode of the Rising Phoenix podcast. Join them and the rest of the Elon Volleyball team next season when they start their fall 2024 campaign at the Schar Center. If you are an Elon athlete, coach, or alumni interested in being featured in a future episode of the Rising Phoenix podcast, contact Jacob Kissamore at jkissamore@elon.edu. That is JKISAMORE at elon.edu. Or my wonderful co-host Chase Strasser at cstrasser@elon.edu. That is CSTRAWSER@elon.edu. Make sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. We are on X, formerly known as Twitter, at EU Rising Phoenix, and on Instagram at Elon Rising Phoenix. We also are now on TikTok at Elon Rising Phoenix. New articles, graphics, and other content can be found on any of these platforms. Finally, new episodes of the podcast will be premiering every other Wednesday, so check back in every few weeks for a brand new episode with an exciting guest. Thank you for listening to this episode of the Rising Phoenix podcast.